Yo, what is up guys? Throwaway back here again with another video. Today we're here to talk about 21 Savage actually calling out the old heads in hip hop, and we're going to try to find out, was he right to call these dudes out or was he kind of out of place? But let's get into it. So right now hip hop kind of has this divide between the newer crowd and like the older crowd. So the older crowd believes more in lyrics and they don't really like the newer style of rap because they feel it relies too much on production, and they think the newer artists don't really have that much talent, while the newer artists are kind of getting mad at that, and they're like, yo, we didn't hate on you guys when you guys were coming up and you guys were making music, and now that we're making music and we're on the come up and we're doing our thing, we're making money, we're actually progressing rap because rap is the #1 genre right now in music, but you guys are hating on us, and they don't really like that. And if someone was hating on you and giving you all this grief for just doing your art, then you would kind of get mad too. And I kind of see where the newer artists are coming from, and I see why they get mad when the older rappers and the older fans really start coming at these guys for seemingly no reason. I find it kind of ironic though, because I think every era of hip-hop has that bad period and they have that bad music. If you go back to the 90s and the early 2000s, they had ringtone rap, and ringtone rap, if you didn't grow up with it, it was really bad. Like, it was awful. It was music that was pretty much made to, you know, be a ringtone on your like shitty phone that wasn't even a touchscreen. It was like those flip phones. It was awful. It was stuff like the early Soulja Boy. If you go back and listen to the early Soulja Boy, it's a good example of ringtone rap. But there was a point in time where that stuff was dominating and you didn't see anyone calling it out like you do today. I think every era has their bad music. If you look at today, some of the most popular artists are people like Kendrick and J. Cole. Of course, you still have your people like Lil Pump, but that doesn't take anything away from people like J. Cole or Kendrick. And if you really do want to find good music, it's always going to be out there. So 21 Savage made some comments on Twitter, and this is what he had to say. He said, "Why do so many of these OG rappers judge the new generation? They say we make drug user music like making drug selling music is any better. What's the difference? What about the fact that rap is the #1 genre in music right now, and none of you guys can acknowledge that? Artists been snorting cocaine, smoking crack since the 70s and the 80s, and did y'all forget that? Instead of judging, how about y'all make a change? If the message is the previous generation of rap was so good, why did so many of our parents abandon us for crack? Why are we still killing each other? Don't use that as a scapegoat. Our music is a reflection of what's going on in the community, and all we're doing is using our talent to escape said community." So first things first, this is a good statement from 21 Savage. I feel like 21 Savage is kind of painted as an idiot because he's a savage. And if you guys don't know anything about people who are like savage and street dudes, not all of them are stupid, not all of them are super uneducated. Some of them just do what they have to do to get by, and it seems like that's the case with 21 Savage. If you've ever watched an interview, he seems like a well-spoken dude, and he seems like he really thinks about what he says before he has to say it. And you know, I like 21 for that reason. There's more to him than just being some stupid street guy. I think he makes a really good point when he talks about drug selling music compared to drug using music. The people who are talking about, oh, we didn't make music about using drugs, are kind of hypocritical because they were making music about selling drugs, as if that's any better. It seems kind of ridiculous that you're trying to take the moral high ground when you're literally making music that just, you know, damages the community. You could argue that the music today also damages the community, but hey, two wrongs don't make a right. If you're making music that's harming your community, you can't really, you know, criticize someone for doing the same exact thing. Also, I think drug use in hip-hop, like 21 Savage has said, has been something that's been in hip-hop for a very long time. There's been people doing drugs, there's been people snorting cocaine long before Lil Pump or Smoke Perp. So to put the blame solely on these guys and to say, oh, you guys are ruining the culture, seems a little bit disingenuous and seems like someone just trying to hate on people for literally no reason whatsoever. I think a lot of this hate from the older rappers comes from a place of jealousy. A lot of these guys who are hating on the newer generation of rappers were guys who realistically weren't even that big. Every time I see an interview of these newer guys hating on people and hating on the newer generation of rappers, it's people who don't really seem to be all that relevant now. If you're looking at the guys who are still relevant to this day and are some of the greats of hip-hop like Jay-Z, Kanye, people like them, they tend to fuck with the newer artists and they tend to work with them and try to progress them and bring the culture forward. Instead of hating on the culture, instead of hating on people who are doing the thing now, why don't you try to work with them? And if anything, if you think they aren't doing something that's good, why don't you try to work with them and make it a little bit better, like you see people like Jay-Z and Kanye doing? And a lot of these older rappers hate on these newer rappers, saying they have no talent and all they do is ride the beat well. And realistically speaking, that is a talent. For whatever reason, people seem to really like this music and people seem to really connect with it, and that's why it's getting so popular. It seems a little bit ridiculous to say these guys have no talent because talent is a subjective subjective thing. And if you're gonna go out and hate on these guys and say they have no talent, they could easily come back and say you have no talent. There isn't some bar there to measure how good someone is as a rapper. Once again, it's just all subjective and it's all opinion based. Personally, I think this whole thing is a little bit ridiculous. I think it's just older people hating because the thing that they loved is starting to change, and if you know anything about people in general, they don't really like change. So I think this is going to continue on for a while. I think there's going to be this divide between the newer and older generation. I think it's just something that has always happened, and I think it's something that's going to continue to happen because people like to be mad, people like to be outraged, and people like to hate. But with that said, what do you guys think of 21 Savage's comments on the older generation of rappers and rap fans? Do you think he was right? Let me know down in the comments down below. Do you think he was wrong? Let me know down in the comments down below. And if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button. If you dislike this video for some odd reason, be sure to hit the dislike button. And if you're new, how about you subscribe? But yeah, guys, this has been Throwaway, and as always, peace out.
Bitch, don't send no DMs. I said when I count checks, bitch, don't send me no